Everyone, Glimpse here again with another video. This time on part 4 of my Stalker series. It's going to be equipment, so this will be a longer video. I'm going to go into more detail on this, and then enhancement stones later that will tie into this as well. So the first time you arrive at the island here on Essia, if you go to this little hut right here, it has level 10 equipment. And if you've done most of the quests on the beginning island, you should be level 10 already. So go to this NPC, and then for whatever race you are, humans are mage and knight, foxes are hunters, and wolves are stalkers. So we're going to be on wolves, and I would suggest buying all of this. And the stalker card is also nice too, because you can buy it for skull here instead of green leaf later. If you've already seen my master card video, I think I omitted this part, so this is a nice way of getting this early. But yeah, pretty simple on these. They just give you more end and a little bit of agility. So we'll go on to level 20 next. Okay, so the level 20 equipment is at Furco here, and he's an NPC located at the Hollorum Garden. So if you're in Essia, go right, up, and then 2 left. So if we click him, go to shop, and then wolves again. So these will be nice. The weapon is fine up until level 22, because then you can get a better weapon. But again, more end, and this time they add a little bit AGI, which will start to help you with critical chance. So if you click him again and go to Gumber weapons, there is a level 22 dagger here, which is an upgrade from your other ones, and it'll be nice up until level 30, so I'd recommend doing it. And it requires a level 20 anyways. So by the level 20, use it up until you get this. Not too hard at all. You can literally get this right here in this map. You can get the Gumber slimes from Master Gumber here in the eye. You can also get the red slimes from the 2 enemies that are right here. So as you can see in the cards, they drop the slime. The eye is 100%. He also drops more than 1 slime, the boss does. And then we'll go on to level 30. Alright, so for this next place, you need to be at least level 30, and you need to do the Golem quest in order to get the key to Golem Town, otherwise you will not be able to access this area. So the hut here with the hat, if you walk inside, just like every other NPC, click shop, and then wolves. But you will notice one thing missing like the last shops, and that's the weapon. And level 22 should have gave you a hint on what's going to come next, and we have to forge our own weapon at level 30. Later on, we also need to forge our own equipment, so this is getting you used to that. But again, adding more end, a little bit more AGI. So if you walk out and go down and to the right, this little building right here is our forge. Alright, so our first forge here. You can see there's a necklace too. I wouldn't bother with it. Some of the enemies that you're going to face are going to drop it anyway, so this you will need for a quest. But here's the daggers. So your previous level 20 in combination with everything else here. These are from Essia Coast. The crafting recipe is at the 3 trees map if you don't have any of the log recipes yet. This is from the bronze mine in Essia City. You need to dig. These can be dug at any Essia Valley. I think there's 4 of them. Silver from the mines, you can turn these into ingots at the Essia Blacksmith. The War's Horn you can dig at Temple of Hawks. And then junk is obviously digging from any spot. And we'll go on to level 30. Also, I do want to mention that if you happen to get lucky fighting King Gummy, you can skip the forging step completely and get the level 30 stuff from him. Alright, so tucked away in the Raccoon Cave is a nice level 32 weapon set. In order to reach it, if you go to Deviation on the world map, there's a little cave entrance. This is the easiest way to get there. So you appear right here. If you go up to where this little corner is, there's an NPC. He only charges 15 skulls, but he can warp you past the king and right to the stairs we need. So once you're up those stairs, you click the NPC here. These are similar to the master ones, and that is because the forge is not too bad for them. You will need your previous weapons, obviously. This is a boss drop that's 100% from King Gummy. Some more logs. King Gummy also drops this if you just want to farm him for it. But if you want to farm the enemies, they're located at the end of Rakoan Cave. If you want to get there, go back down the stairs. You'll be right at this map. Go to the corner here. There's another set of stairs. You'll end up here. Walk all the way down and up. There's a locked door. Go up 2 levels, and outside you'll face these enemies here. They both drop the Gummy Slime. And then, of course, some more minor junk, and not too bad for the skull. These will be your best weapon until level 40. Alright, so another change at level 40 is you either have to forge your own equipment and weapon, or you can buy some of them from other players. There are a couple enemies that drop them, but they are much higher level. Level 58 here, for instance, he drops a couple things for level 40, and Widows level 55 drop a couple things as well. So as you can see, just reach out on global chat and ask if any players have it. Sometimes they do if they're grinding them. Otherwise, you can go over to here and go to Forge. Click Wolves again. But definitely a increase in endurance and AGI. And we also get a cape this time. Definitely good for the extra endurance. Walk back out. Alright, now if you notice here, there's level 40, 50, and 60. For the weapons, it's a little bit different. For the armor, there's an in-between. So there's a 40 plus instead of a 50 armor. But anyways, click level 40, and we can see that there's a trend happening here where the previous daggers are useful for creating the next one, so make sure you save them. The golden crystal you should have by now from facing golden creatures. These are from the recipe and trees around Goldem. The bronze, silver, and gold you can do at the blacksmith in Essia. This is from the ghosts and the cemetery. Terion rock can be found digging around Terion. And then minor junk, obviously. The money starts to increase from here, so be wary of that. Before, I think it was only 2,000, and it only gets bigger from here. Alright, so our in-between set is at Essia City, and that's in the world boss area. So we're going to go inside here, and we find a forge. Now, one of my previous videos, if you watched them, the only thing we're going to forge here is the armor and the pants. The helm and weapon, we get better stuff at level 50 and up. So we're only going to focus on the armor and pants here. The card's not necessary, but it's a good one if you have time to craft it. So if you look here, we need a level 40 set. This drops from Lucas pretty often, and then 600 fluff from the mobs inside, and they're not hard. You get a lot when you face Lucas anyways, so this should not be a problem at all to make. And you'll notice that there's no endurance. It just bumps up your agility, which is good for critical. And same with the pants, but they do have a little bit less AGI than the armor, but still really good for the level. Again, the same thing, shoulder and 600 Werken fluff. And if you do Wednesday and Saturday both in the same week, it will not take you long at all. Otherwise, you can just find the mobs on any day right up this ladder here. So we'll go on to level 50 weapons and then level 60 armor set. Alright, so back to Terion City, back to the forge. Again, a difference, and this time, for the Lich weapons, which are really good, we need to do a quest. The NPC is at the same map that Bubba's are on, so just a couple left from Terion City. Do that quest, you will receive this. The next one, Golden Horn's not too hard to craft, but you need to craft it at the Cemetery Forge. And then you should have at least one of these by now, but there's a lot of players that have one, just ask around. A couple simple things from the crafting, and then a few more things from Cemetery. These, if you haven't dug already, they're in Terion City, just dig anywhere. And then of course minor junk, and then as you can see, now it's doubled again, so 10k for that. And we'll go on to level 60. Okay, so starting us off with the level 60 stuff, we're back at this NPC for the armor. And out of all these, all you need is the main armor, the pants, and the shoulder for best in slot. You get a better helm and better gloves later on, but these are decent for what they are. The shoes, again, you can get some event ones pretty easily, but still decent. And then the cape is for endurance. I personally have this. It helps a lot at this level, especially for getting smacked around by a Nimbus. And we'll go on to the weapons. Alright, so at the level 60 weapons, it's going to take longer, just like the armor. You need a set of the 40 daggers, a bolt from the Golem drop of Memphis. This is another forge in the cemetery, more crystals, lots of Blafon trunk, lots of gold, lots of mithril. These drop from an enemy in Blafon, the brown beetle. This is dug up in Blafon and or the map that Bubba's on. That one you can dig them up quicker because there's less stuff to dig up there. And then more minor junk and a hefty skull price. So those will be the best weapons for quite a while. The event ones are slightly better with the defense and damage bonus, but I think there will be level 70 in the future, so I wouldn't worry about it too much for now. Alright, so for completion's sake, we'll go over the event weapons. The ones that I have are currently best in slot, however that will change after the next update. The level 60 world boss is going to have his own forge, and that will be in the game permanently, and I'm pretty sure those weapons are going to be better than the current ones of these anniversary. So the other two are 25 and 45, but they also give a defensive bonus, and that's different from the Christmas ones that give a critical damage. But still nothing to sneeze at, very good for their level. If you happen to be playing when the anniversary is going, I'd recommend picking these up. You have to forge them now, but the forge wasn't very hard for these first two. Third ones was a little bit of a challenge, but all things considered not bad for the boost. And like I said, they're not going to be best in slot forever. That will change, and I am very glad of that change. I don't think event items should ever be best in slot, and if they are, it should only be for a certain time. Alright, so the second set of event stuff is the Christmas event, and that's going on at the time of this video. They used to be the best in slot. They are currently not anymore. The level 60 items came out, and the level 65 items after that. So if I were these levels, I would not get these. If you just happen to see this video at the time and this is still going on, get the level 12 ones at least. They will help you out. Alright, so before we get into the special equipment, I want to talk about this NPC again. He has a shop of common items that are really decent for the price, and they are for trading in bronze skulls. The most common way to get bronze skulls are from trading in stones to him for bronze skulls. You can trade those under the relics tab. But anyways, the AGI necklaces, especially for 20 and 30, are really good. I don't think there's anything that's good in that slot at that level that's not an event. The 40 and 60 are, or the 40 and 50 are decent if you're having trouble with the lich drop or you can't get one. And then for some magic defense, we have some SPR necklaces here. And finally, the endurance necklaces, which we'll get into endurance equipment later. But if you're wanting one of those, they're here too. So we'll talk about the AGI set first. There are 5 that are non-event, and that's including the ones that Yama's here. And 3 that are event only. 2 of them are best in slot, unfortunately. But the first 2 are from the cemetery. The spirit necklace drops from the lich boss. The bloodstained lich belt you have to forge, but I would recommend forging this over the cape. This has built-in stats already, where the cape is free of stats at first. And for the level, this belt is awesome. You get a high endurance bonus and a high critical damage bonus at the bottom there. Just like with all the other belts, there's only 1 slot for a stone. I am going to test this versus the Dojo Belt to see what I like better. And the next 3 are from Memphis. These can be forged right outside his door. Pure AGI mostly for this one. Slight defensive bonus, but this is just for the AGI. The ring is very nice for the critical damage, and then the book gives us a little boost. Now this next item, this is event only. I love these earrings, but I wish they were non-event. Like the Halloween Tower, for instance, would be a nice prize, or something similar. Necklace we went over already. The spirit necklace is the same except for the luminosity. And then the shoes are the best AGI shoes. They give an extremely high starting AGI. Mine are maxed out with the Stone 2. But be really careful if you happen to have a pair of these. There's no endurance on them, so you will be suffering quite a bit there. But again, these aren't really necessary at all. But just for an example, we'll show you a high AGI level. And we're going to go ahead and boost up the dodge too real quick. So 46% chance of hitting this number and a 58% chance of dodging, which is extremely high. Of course, there's another helmet at level 60 that we showed earlier that can give you even more AGI there. You can put more stones in a higher Lich Cape. These numbers can be higher. The only thing is, once this number starts to get lower, you will suffer with this number as well, since AGI only gives a little bit boost to this, but mostly for this. Alright, so before we get into the endurance real quick, I want to go over the few strength items we use. Most of our equipment has AGI based. The only things that don't are the helmet and your weapon, mostly. The gloves you can choose, like the best slot here, I did AGI, but you can go strength if you want. But the strength earrings here, Lich Blood earrings, are a drop from the Lich. They will be your best non-event in slot item. And the Power Mephis Belt is insanely good for the strength. I have a Stone 2 in here instead of Stone 1s. So that is also really good against single target enemies to just have more strength. The only slight difference between my earrings that I wear, these are event only, but they're insane for the level. So if I equip those, you see there's not even, there's like a slight change in my physical damage, but this critical damage jumps up quite a bit. So these should either be changed or reintroduced into the game. But like I said, you can have best slot items for pretty much every single slot that is non-event, and they're really, really close. But anyways, let's get into the endurance ones. Alright, so the next set has a lot to go over, and that is the endurance set. I think some of these will be a lot more viable moving forward now that the dungeon system has changed. So the first two are ones that I'll go over you can forge, and those are the Mephis items here. This ring I wouldn't have considered, but the critical damage stays the same versus AGI. We just lose a little percentage points, but we get a big jump here for defense and magic defense. The book is where we notice small changes here, and that's one thing I want to go over too. When there's a small AGI change, it's not as important as some of the other stats like endurance and strength. So for example, if we equip this goes up a lot, our number here doesn't change, and this only dips by 1. So again, a good boost here versus a slight drop in just this. The next two are not worth it in my opinion. There is a repeatable quest called Jurassic Research. It's at the very last room of Rakoan Cave with Jesse. And the only reason is because the repeatable quest takes 6 of each egg in the game and 500 minor junk per fossil. And each of these costs an X number of fossils. This is 10 fossil and this is 30. So for the amount of time, they're not worth it. They are very good items, however. So I think in the future they could be dropped down for price. And these next two, they're technically mastery items, but you can no longer get them. I think in the future, Dino leaked a way to get mastery items, so that'd be cool because these are really good, especially the boots. All right, so the next three are from events. The first one in particular is insane. Endurance 20 with 5 slots. I still haven't put anything in mine yet, but now with the change, I probably will. This is from an old event. There's nothing quite close to it that I'll probably change because most stuff in the game is like that, where if there's something that's way too high, eventually there will be something close to it. The earrings are good, but not necessary. Probably out of these three, the least likely I would wear. I might wear the necklace for the endurance because that's 8. These two in particular will help with the higher level dungeons, so I hope in the future there will be something similar to it. The next two, they're from event, but there's no endurance. They're just HP buffs, insanely high ones. The first one being from the Dragonian Olympics again. 4 slots here. I might even choose to do that and put some slots in it. Maybe not. These have a good HP bonus already, but who knows. I think Mage in particular, this would be nice for. Maybe in the future these come back somewhere. The ring is just HP only, so unless you're just want to show off, it's not necessary at all. It's just cool to get almost 1,000 HP, and we can with some of these items. So there, for instance, that's with like almost every HP item on. We'll just go as high as we can here. And as you can see, it's an insane boost, but we drop quite a bit for damage. But look at that physical defense. That is just beautiful. The one last thing I want to go over is Dojo Belts, and each one, there's 4 of them currently. You can check out the dojo levels in SES City. Right now the dojo is bugged, but it will be fixed after next update. This is probably the belt I will be wearing moving forward. All the bonuses are just sweet. Alright, so the last ones are magic defense items, and these are the more specialty items in the group I would consider. You're not going to use them as often, but for some of the higher tier enemies, they are quite useful because they both have damage and magic damage. Anything with the intelligence feature down here means they have magic damage. This one in particular has a very high one and can kill you pretty quickly. So useful if you're farming that enemy, and then for Numbus in particular, the magic defense stuff helps quite a bit. The first 2 are from lower level quests, and this one is from the Halloween Tower. So go inside, there's an NPC that can give you a quest there. It also has intelligence for mages and AGI for fighters, so that's quite nice. The next one, however, doesn't, but does give you a small defense boost as well, and that is for a NPC quest, Selena. The next 2 are the higher level ones, and they're also from quests. You'll get these around the same time. The hat quest is a little bit more difficult to complete than the Widow Earrings one, but you get a defense bonus as well as a strength bonus and or intelligence bonus. So just like the skull necklace, whether you're a mage or a fighter, it's good. In particular for the mages, because their spell gives them higher magic defense. The Widow Earrings I'll probably actually have in my inventory moving forward. Other ones probably not, maybe the Sky Blue Magic Ring, but this will be really nice against the higher tier enemies. So going into that with the event item, this is the best ring for magic defense. There's no defensive bonus, but it's 25, and that was from an old event, so not necessary at all. So with all things considered, I think my future build will look something like this. I love that the dungeons have changed. This opens up a lot more options. We don't have to get funneled into one thing where you just have the highest damage. Super boring. This will allow me to use way less potions and not die as often. The HP boost is very welcome. So we don't drop too much physical damage or critical damage, as you can see. That's the main thing too. We don't drop a whole lot, all things considered, there with our buffs here, which we're going to be using anyways. And for the specialty things, I will be keeping the skull necklace around and the widow earrings, in particular for Anubis fights. It's going to help a lot to solo. The doggo hat, I'm kind of considering it. Maybe if things get super dicey in testing, I'll bring it back, but it's hard to give up all this strength bonus. So yeah, love the change and love that we can explore more builds in the future.